Welcome to this video explaining the Bare Essential series of postures. In this video, we will give a full explanation of each pose and modifications for each. If you're looking to just follow along to the practice, please see the cue only video. To begin, step to the front of the mat for Tadasana. Take a few ujjayi breaths here. Big toes touching, heels slightly apart. Alternatively, you could place the feet hip-width apart if it is more comfortable. Legs strong and straight without locking the knees. Give a slight back bend to open the heart to the sky. Feel the breath in the back of your throat and breathe out with a long ha as if fogging a mirror. Remember to stay engaged in the pose. There are no passive poses in yoga. Legs strong, grounding you to the earth, spine extending, reaching your crown to the sky. Interlace the fingers and bring them under the chin, thumbs facing the throat. On an inhale, raise the elbows, tuck the chin, fill the lungs, and pause a moment. Slowly release the breath, raise the chin, and touch the elbows, giving slightly more back bend if comfortable. Completely empty the lungs, and pause a moment before repeating. Inhale, tuck the chin, elbows up, pause. Exhale, raise the chin, lower the elbows, pause. Repeat at your own pace for a few rounds, completely filling the lungs from the top down. Feel the chest and abdomen expand, holding the breath. Empty the lungs from the bottom up. Feel the belly pull in and hold. Continue moving and breathing. Feel the breath on the back of your throat. We will use Ujjayi Pranayama throughout the postures. Take this time to set an intention for the practice and stay focused on it as long as it serves you during the practice. On your next exhale, bring your hands to prayer at your heart. Resume your normal breathing pattern. Inhale to Tadasana. Exhale. Inhale, arms up, palms together. Exhale, fold forward to Uttanasana. Inhale, look up halfway, shoulders relaxed, back straight for Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward again. Inhale, Chaturanga, step back to plank. Strong legs and belly. Exhale to low plank, hover here, come to the knees if needed. Inhale, flip the toes to Ardha Svanasana, upward facing dog. Flip the toes, exhale to Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Heels reach for the floor, slight bend in the knees if needed to keep the back straight. Inhale, step the right foot forward to Alanasana, crescent lunge. Knee over the ankle, not past it. Up on the toes of the left foot, hands shoulder width apart up to the sky. You can take the left knee to the mat if needed, or put the heel down and turn the foot out 45 degrees to Virabhadrasana. Exhale, fingers interlace behind the back, chest opens to the sky. Inhale, bring the hands back to prayer at heart. Exhale and twist, bringing the left elbow to the outside of the right knee for Parivrrta Trikonasana. Legs strong. If you can't get the elbow past the knee, just turn to the right as far as possible. Remember, we don't want pain, but it shouldn't be too easy. Inhale, bring the hands back to the heart. Exhale, bring the hands to the mat on the inside of the right leg for lizard pose. Send the left leg out long behind you on the mat. Stay here or lower to the forearms. Make sure the front knee is not past the ankle. Back leg is straight. Stay here for a few breaths. On an inhale, come back up on the hands. Tuck the toes and lift the left leg. Step the right leg back to plank. Chaturanga. Exhale, lower down and hover. Inhale, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a few breaths in down dog here if needed, before we repeat for the other side. Inhale, step the left foot forward to crescent lunge or Uttanasana, knee over the ankle, up on the toes of the right foot, hands shoulder width apart to the sky. Take the right knee to the mat here if needed, or to Warrior One. Exhale, the fingers interlace behind the back, chest opens to the sky. Inhale, return hands to heart center in prayer. Exhale and twist, bringing the right elbow to the outside of the left knee, Parivrrta Trikonasana. Remember, twist as far as you can without feeling pain. Inhale the hands to the heart. Exhale, hands to the mat on the inside of the left leg for lizard pose. Right leg out long behind you. Knee over the ankle. You can stay here or lower down onto the forearms for a few breaths, deepening into the stretch. On an inhale, come back up to the hands. Tuck the toes. Lift the right leg and step the left leg back to plank. Exhale for Chaturanga, lower down and hold. Inhale to Ardha up dog. Exhale back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Take a few breaths in down dog here, keeping the knees bent if needed to get the back straight. Arms strong, heels reaching for the mat. On an inhale, look up and step or hop the feet between the hands. Look up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale and fold all the way forward for Uttanasana. Inhale, bring the arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer at the heart. Inhale, roll the shoulders back to Tadasana. Exhale, the hands to prayer at heart. Inhale, hands up overhead, fingers interlock. Release the pointer fingers to the sky. For a warm-up, tuck the tailbone, send the hips to the left a little bit, the hands reach right. Switch and send the hips to the right, hands to the left, going a little further each time. Do 7 on each side and come back to center, keeping the hands raised. Tuck the tailbone, hips forward. Begin to push the hips left while reaching as far to the right as possible. Keep lifting and reaching, rounding the spine. Keep the arms glued to the ears. Keep breathing, keep pushing the hips for a total of 20 seconds here. Keep pushing a little further, breathing, folding deeper. Inhale back upright, hands to the ceiling. Tuck the tailbone. Begin to push the hips to the right while reaching as far to the left as possible. Keep lifting and reaching, rounding the spine slightly. Keep the arms glued to the ears. Keep breathing, pushing the hips further, bending further to the side. Inhale back upright, reaching toward the ceiling. With the arms still reaching upright, look up across the fingertips. Inhale, fill the lungs completely for 80-20 breathing. Relax the neck and shoulders. If you have back issues, you can stay right here. Tuck the tailbone, inhale, and reach back towards the space behind you, only moving as far as your body comfortably allows. Keep breathing small breaths in the posture. Keep the glutes engaged, neck relaxed. Lifting with the heart, push the hips forward. Hold while continuing 80-20 breathing. Continue pushing the hips forward, taking the gaze backwards, following the fingertips. Continue to breathe, folding a little deeper each time. Inhale, back up, pause at center. Continue to fold forward, exhaling fully, extending the spine all the way. Bend the knees as deeply as you can, and glue the abdomen to the thighs for this posture if possible. Reach down and grab your big toes with the first 2 fingers, wrapping them under the toe, thumbnail to big toenail for Padangusthasana. Reach up through the legs to straight if possible. Keep the knees bent if needed to keep the back straight. Stay for a few breaths, pushing up through the legs to straighten the knees and pulling the body tight to the thighs with the arms. On an inhale, release the toes and look up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana, fingertips to the mat. Exhale, lift the front of the feet simultaneously, bend the knees, and put the hands palm up under each foot for Hastasana. The goal is toes to wrists, but only go as far as comfortable. Shift the weight back toward the toes. Keep pushing to straighten the legs while keeping the torso pressed to the thighs, back straight. Hold for a few breaths. It is okay for the knees to be bent. Just keep the legs engaged, trying to straighten them. Push up with the legs, pull down with the arms. On an inhale, release the hands. Look up halfway to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hands come back together. Inhale, come up, straight legs, straight spine, reaching for the front wall, extending the spine as we come all the way up. Keep reaching for the ceiling. Exhale, release the hands back to prayer at heart. Inhale, roll the shoulders back to Tadasana. Turn to face the right side of the room. Inhale the arms up overhead, palms pressed. Exhale, take a large step out to the right, about 4 feet distance between the feet, and bring the arms out on either side of us, parallel to the mat. Feet should be parallel facing forward. The torso is upright, lifting through the spine, heart lifted. Turn the right foot to the back of the mat 90 degrees. Inhale, sitting deep into a lunge for Virabhadrasana. The right knee should be above or behind the ankle. Torso is upright, not leaning in any direction. The arms are one long line, looking across the right fingertips. Left leg is planted straight out behind us, left foot flat on the mat. Breathe, feeling strong, heart is open, leg muscles rotating outward while the feet stay strongly rooted. Inhale, lift the right arm toward the sky, bring the left hand to the left thigh or to the lower back for Viparita Virabhadrasana. Sit a little deeper into your lunge, keeping the knee over the ankle, relax the neck. Exhale the arms back parallel across the mat to Virabhadrasana 2. Look back across the left fingertips. Flip the palms up. Exhale, lean forward from the hips, bringing the right fingertips to the mat, and the left hand reaches to the ceiling for bent knee Trikonasana. If this is too challenging, you can also just rest the forearm on the thigh, or place a block inside the bent leg and place the hand there. Keep the hips square, bent knee over the ankle, shoulders stack. Inhale, back up to Virabhadrasana 2. Straighten the right leg, turn the foot back forward, keeping the arms out strong. If it becomes too much for the arms, feel free to bring them to the hips. Turn the left foot 90 degrees to the front of the mat. Inhale, sitting deep into the lunge for Virabhadrasana 2. Again, the knee should be above or behind the ankle. Torso is upright, not leaning. Arms are one long straight line, looking across the left fingertips. Breathe, heart is open, leg muscles engaged. Feel strongly rooted to the mat. Inhale, lift the left arm to the sky, bring the right hand to the right thigh or lower back for Viparita Virabhadrasana. Sit a little deeper into your lunge, shoulders relaxed. Exhale the arms back parallel across the mat to Virabhadrasana 2. Look back across the right fingertips. Flip the palms up. Exhale, lean forward from the hips, bringing the left fingertips to the mat, right hand to the ceiling. If this is challenging, rest the forearm on the thigh or place a block inside the bent leg. Keep the hips square, knee over the ankle, shoulders stacked. Inhale back up to Virabhadrasana 2. Straighten the left leg, turn the foot forward. Keep the legs wide, 4 feet distance or so, for Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged forward fold. Inhale the arms up overhead, slight back bend, opening up the heart. Exhale, fold forward, place the hands on the mat. Bend the knees or use blocks to keep the back straight. Deep breaths, legs strong, fold deeper. If you have blood pressure issues, keep the torso parallel to the floor and the head at or above heart level. Inhale halfway up, hands to the hips. Exhale, fold forward, bend the knees if needed. Stay for a few breaths. Inhale up to standing. Exhale, interlace the fingers behind the back. Inhale, slight back bend. Exhale, fold forward. Draw the shoulder blades together, bringing the hands over the head. Bend the knees if needed. Careful not to hyperextend the elbows. Take a few breaths here. Inhale up halfway. Release the hands and bring the fingertips to the mat. Grab the big toes with the first two fingers, thumbnails to big toenails. Exhale, fold forward. Bend the knees if needed, legs pushing to straighten, arms pulling the torso down. Stay here for a few breaths. Release the hands. Exhale, hands to hip. Inhale up all the way. Bring the feet in further to shorten the stance to just outside the shoulders. Turn the right foot to face the back of the mat. Pick the left foot up and shift it over to a walking stance about shoulder width to prepare for Parivrrta Trikonasana. Bring the hands to the hips to check that the hips are square to the shoulders. Inhale, left arm reaches up, open the heart, slight back bend if you like. Exhale, fold forward, reaching for the back wall as we come down. Place the left hand on the mat or on a block. You can stay right here if twisting is an issue. Rotate the right shoulder open, stacking the shoulders, twisting the spine. We can stay here, or we can extend the right hand up to the ceiling, and eventually you may be able to gaze up across the fingertips. Breathe in, stay here for a few breaths. Return both hands to the mat. Exhale, hands to the hips. Inhale, straight spine, come all the way up. Pivot to the center of the mat. Turn the left foot to face the front of the mat. Pick the right foot up and shift it over to walking stance. Bring the hands to the hips to check to make sure the hips are square. Inhale, right arm reaches up. Open the heart, slight back bend. Exhale, fold forward, reaching for the back wall as we fold down. Right hand to the mat or a block. Stay here if twisting is an issue. Rotate the left shoulder open, stacking the shoulders. Twist the spine. Stay here or extend the left hand up to the ceiling. Gaze goes across the fingertips. Stay here. Breathe. Both hands come to the mat. Exhale, both hands to the hips. Inhale, straight spine all the way up. Pivot to the center of the mat. Pivot to the back of the mat, back to your walking stance, hips square. In this pose, we'll engage the bandhas or the locks. For more details on bandhas, refer to the bandha video. Inhale, arms overhead. Interlace the fingers. Release the index fingers. 3 locks. Inhale, lift the pelvic floor like a Kegel for Mula Bandha. Engage the abdomen. Belly button goes in and up for Uddiyana Bandha. Chin locks to the chest for Jalandhara Bandha. Hold these locks for the entire pose. The pose can be done without the locks if you are pregnant. Exhale, slowly roll the spine down, placing the fingers on the mat or a block. Keep holding the locks. Keep breathing. The goal here is to bring the forehead to the knee while holding the locks. If you need to bend the knee to get the forehead to the knee, feel free to do so. Continue breathing. Continue holding the locks. Hands together. Keep holding the locks. Inhale, roll the spine up. Once all the way up, release the pelvic floor. Release the abdomen. Release the chin. Keeping the hands up and together, pivot to the center of the mat. Pivot to the front, back in the walking stance. Engage the locks. Pelvic floor, belly button in and up, chin to the chest. Hold the locks. Exhale, roll the spine down. Fingers to the mat or block. Keep holding the locks. Keep breathing. Forehead to the knee. Remember, if you need to bend the knee to do so, please do. Keep holding the locks. Keep breathing. Hands together, holding the locks. Inhale, roll the spine up. Once all the way up, release the pelvis, release the abdomen, release the chin. Exhale, bring the hands to the hips. Pivot back to center. Pivot one more time to face the back of the mat, hips square in our walking stance. Bring the hands behind your back into reverse prayer position. If you cannot get into reverse prayer, reach for opposite elbows. Inhale, slight back bend, open the heart. Hands or arms gently pressing into the back. Exhale, keep the slight back bend as you fold forward, leading with the heart until the torso is parallel to the mat. In this pose, the legs remain straight. Don't round the spine, but keep reaching the crown of the head toward the back wall. The goal is to fold forward far enough to bring the chin to the shin, but only fold as far as you are able to while keeping the leg and the spine straight. Inhale back up, pivot to center, pivot left into your walking stance facing the front of the mat, hands or arms still behind you. Inhale, slight back bend, opening the heart, pressing into the back. Exhale, keeping the slight back bend, fold forward, lead with the heart, torso parallel to the mat, legs straight, back straight. Keep reaching the crown of the head toward the back wall. Keep the legs and the spine straight while you fold deeper, trying to get the chin to the shin. Keep breathing, keep folding. Inhale back up. Step the right foot up to meet the left. Release the arms. Inhale, arms overhead, palms press. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, roll the shoulders back to Tadasana. Standing at the middle of the mat, we will step the feet about hip distance apart, feet parallel to the mat. Take a deep breath. Roll the shoulders back, opening the heart. Bring the arms out in front of us, palms facing the mat. Keep the arms strong and engaged. Inhale. Begin to sit into an imaginary chair for Uttanasana. Sit as deep as you can until the thighs are about parallel to the mat, keeping the back straight. Check the knees, make sure they're not going beyond the toes or coming in together. If the knees have a tendency to come together, you can place a block between them to keep the space. Hold here for a few breaths, keeping the legs strong, the back straight, dropping as far as you can to try and get the thighs parallel to the mat. Come up onto the tiptoes, arms up, palms out for Asana, victory pose. The whole body stretches to the sky. Stay here for a breath. Inhale, staying on the tiptoes, bring the hands back out in front of you and sit back into your imaginary chair again for awkward pose. This is just like chair pose, but we will remain up on the toes. Sink the glutes closer to the heels. This is a prime example of practicing asteya or non-cheating in your practice. You're here already, so don't cheat yourself out of the benefits of chair. Staying up on the toes, come back up to Asana. Feel victorious here. You've just conquered chair pose for the day. Come back down onto the heels. Exhale, bring the right arm under the left. Wrap the arms and bring the palms together. Elbows down, arms in the center of the body. If this is too challenging, you can always reach for opposite shoulders. Inhale, sit back down into chair position, then bring the right leg over the left, and if you're able, tuck the right foot behind the ankle. If this is overly challenging, you're welcome to just keep both feet on the mat and sit back into the chair while binding the arms. Hold for a few breaths. Inhale back up to Asana. Bring the heels back down. Exhale, bring the left arm under the right. Wrap the arms and bring the palms together. Elbows down, arms in the center of the body. If this is too challenging, you can always reach for the opposite shoulders. Inhale, start to sit back into chair position. Bring the left leg over the right. If you're able, tuck the left foot behind the right ankle. If this is overly challenging again, just keep both feet on the mat. Or you can cross the leg over and instead of tucking it behind, rest the toes on a block. Stay here for a few breaths. Release the binds. Inhale back up to Jiddyasana. Lower the heels. Exhale the hands to heart. Inhale to Tadasana. Bring both hands to the hips. Inhale. Bend the right knee, thigh parallel to the mat, toes flexed up toward the ceiling. Grab the knee with the right hand, heart is open. You can stay right here. This is an excellent way to build up to Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. Keep holding the knee, or reach down and grab the big toe with the first 2 fingers on the right hand, straightening the knee as much as possible. Remain here for a few breaths. Now take the leg out to the side. Whether you're holding the knee or the toe, either is fine. Open the leg out to the right as far as possible and remain here for a few breaths. Return the leg to center and release your hand, either keeping or extending the leg straight out in front of you, hands to the hips. Keep the leg straight out in front of you for 5 breaths. Lift a little higher on each breath. Lift from the hip without tucking the tailbone under. Keep breathing. One last push. Lift as high as possible. Slowly lower the leg to the mat. Inhale. Bend the left knee. Thigh parallel to the mat. Toes flexed up to the ceiling. Grab the knee with the left hand. Again, stay here if needed. Or reach down and grab the big toe with the first 2 fingers of the left hand, straightening the knee as much as possible. Stay here for a few breaths. Alternatively, you could use a strap here to help keep the back straight and extend the knee further. Now again, take the leg out to the side. Whether you have the knee or the toe is fine. Open the leg as far as possible to the left and remain here for a few breaths. Bring the leg back center, hands to the hips, legs straight out in front. Hold for 5 breaths again, lifting a little higher on each breath. Keep lifting, keep your right leg strong. On your last breath, lift the leg a little higher, push as high as possible. Exhale, slowly bring the foot back to the mat. Inhale, bring the right thigh parallel to the mat again for Dandayama Janusharsasana. Engage the standing leg, the standing glutes, and the abdomen. You can stay here and interlace the fingers around the knee, roll the shoulders back, heart is open. Or to move further, interlace the fingers underneath the foot and round the spine. Again, you can stay here, or you can begin to straighten the right leg out in front, keeping the standing leg strong. Eventually, we can begin to bring the forehead down to meet the knee. If you fall over, it's okay. Just get back up, get back into the pose. Keep breathing, keep feeling good where you're at. When you're ready, exhale, release the hands back to the hips, lower the foot to the mat. Inhale, left thigh parallel to the mat. Engage the standing leg, standing glutes, strong through the core. Interlace the fingers around the knee, roll the shoulders back, heart is open. Again, feel free to stay here or move further by interlacing the fingers underneath the foot. You can also use a strap here to help with the pose and keep the back straight. Stay here or begin to straighten the left leg out in front, keeping the standing leg strong. Eventually, bring the forehead down to meet the knee. Again, if you fall over, it's not a problem. Just get back into the pose. Keep breathing. Keep pushing forward. Stay in the pose for a few breaths. Exhale. Release to Tadasana. Inhale, left arm up to the ceiling. Right elbow to the hip. Bending the arm, palm up. For Dandayamana Dhanurasana, standing bow or dancer's pose. Firm up the left leg. And we're going to bend the right knee, bringing the right heel to the glute. Reach the right arm straight back to grab the foot or ankle from the inside. can also use a strap here if needed. Exhale, begin to fold forward, reaching for the front wall. Kick your right leg up and back, pushing the foot into the palm. Look across the fingertips and breathe. Keep the standing leg strong. Keep pushing the right leg high. Focus, find stillness here in order to find your balance. Remember, if you fall out of the posture, just come right back into it. Hold here for a few breaths. Inhale all the way back up. Exhale, release. Inhale, bring the right arm to the ceiling, the left elbow to the hip, bending the arm again, palm up. Firm up the right leg, bend the left knee, bringing the left heel to the glute. Reach the arm straight back and grab the foot or ankle from the inside, again using a strap if needed. Exhale, begin to fold forward, reaching for the front wall with the right arm, kicking the left leg up and back. Look across the right fingertips and breathe. Keep your standing leg strong. Keep pushing the left leg into the hand and pulling with the arm to create a counter force. If you fall, get right back into the pose and keep going. Hold here for a few breaths. Inhale all the way back up. Exhale, release. Inhale, roll the shoulders back to Tadasana. Come to the back of the mat, standing tall in Tadasana. Inhale the arms overhead, interlacing the fingers and releasing the index fingers. Arms frame the ears. Take a small step forward with the right foot. Come up onto the left toes. Reach high to the sky, lifting with the heart. You can always stay right here. Or begin to exhale, folding forward, eventually aiming to bring the body parallel to the mat, extending the fingers forward to the front wall and reaching the toes toward the back wall. Fold as far as you are able, keeping the hips square to the mat. Be careful not to let the hips swing open to the sky. Stay here for a few breaths. Inhale all the way back up, keeping the arms up. Take a small step forward with the left foot, coming up onto the right toes. We are reaching to the sky, lifting with the heart. Again, you can stay right here, or begin to fold forward, exhaling, bringing the back leg up, eventually aiming to bring the body parallel to the mat. Fingers extend toward the front wall, toes reach to the back wall. Fold as far as you are able, remembering to keep the hips square. Stay here for a few breaths and breathe into the pose, bending a little further with each breath. Inhale all the way back up, come to Tadasana. Bring the hands to the hips for Virabhadrasana or tree pose. Shift your weight to the left leg, bend the right knee and turn it outward. You can keep the toes on the mat here, or bring the right foot to the inside of the left calf, the inner thigh, or up into the left hip. Never rest the foot on the knee here to avoid injury. Bring the hands to heart center, or hold on to the foot with the left hand if needed. Keep the abdomen engaged and the tailbone tucked. Inhale the arms up overhead. Take a moment here to breathe and check in with your body. Exhale, release. Bring the hands to the hips. Shift your weight to the right leg. Bend the left knee and turn it outward. You can keep the toes on the mat here, or bring the foot to the inside of the right calf, the inner thigh, or up into the right hip, but again, not on the knee. Bring the hands to heart center or hold the foot with the hand if needed. Keep the abdomen engaged, tailbone tucked. Inhale the arms up overhead. Take a moment here to breathe and check in with your body. Exhale, release. Inhale to Tadasana. Step the feet to the outside edges of the mat with the toes pointed slightly outward, about a 45-degree angle. Inhale the arms up and exhale to heart center. On your next inhale, come all the way down into a deep squat, making sure that our feet stay flat on the mat. If we have knee issues, we can stay about halfway up or wherever feels best for you. Alternatively, you can put a block down and squat and sit down onto the block. From the squat, press the elbows into the thighs and lift with the heart. Maybe gently rock from side to side here. This is excellent for our hip joints. If you are able, feel free to move into crow or a headstand here. You can move into Bakasana or crow by folding forward and placing the hands on the mat beneath the shoulders, elbows bent. Place the knees up onto the backs of the arms. Find your balance here. Then try to lift one foot, then both. You can also move further into a headstand or any other variation you would like. Remember that it's okay to fall. Falling is how we learn. Stay in your posture here for a few breaths. Come back to the mat and lay back for Savasana. Feel free to take a water break here. Lay back flat on the mat, feet separated, laying to the side, arms at our sides, palms up for Savasana. We'll take a break here before moving on through the rest of the series. Relax into your mat, check in with your body. Feel from your head all the way down to your feet, checking that all your muscles are relaxed. Let your body melt into the mat. Continue your breathing. Feel your stomach expand on your inhales. Feel it contract on your exhales. Continue breathing. Rest here for just a moment. Inhale and bend the knees as you bring the feet together, heels toward the glutes on the mat, as far as you comfortably can for Supta Bhadrasana, or reclining gentle. Exhale and allow the knees to fall outward toward the edges of the mat as the soles of the feet come together. The hands can move to the inner thighs or the inside of the knees to add a light weight to increase the opening of the inner hips and groin. Stay here for 30 seconds or so, breathing deeply. Remember not to pull the legs too far, just use the hands as a slight weight to help with the opening. Release the hands. Inhale, bringing the knees back up together. Then exhale the legs out straight in front of you on the mat, lying in a supine position. Inhale, bringing the right knee up toward the chest, interlacing the fingers around the knee to pull the leg in deeply, creating a compression of the abdomen for Pavana Mukhatasana, wind removing pose. Keep the left leg straight and press the left calf down into the mat. Flex both feet so the toes are reaching to the head. Keep the compression, breathe deep breaths, hold for 30 seconds. Remember to pull in so that there is a tight compression and a good stretch, but not pain. On an exhale, release the hands, straighten the right leg out onto the mat. Inhale, bring the left knee to the chest. Interlace the fingers around the knee and pull in deeply. Keep the right leg straight and flat on the mat. Toes flexed. Hold for 30 seconds, keeping the compression, feeling the stretch. If the knee needs to move slightly to the outside of the rib cage to get a deeper stretch, that is fine as well. Just remember to keep your breathing deep, relaxing into the stretch. Exhale, release the hands and lay the left leg long. Inhale, bring both knees to the chest and interlace the fingers around the knees, or reach for opposite elbows, aiming to keep the shoulders down. Continue to breathe deeply here and squeeze the legs into the chest. You can always put a slight gap in the legs to open around the rib cage if needed. Continue to squeeze. You can rock side to side here to open up the back if it feels good. Release the hands. and take both legs straight up to the sky for waterfall. If needed, you can always use a strap around the balls of the feet here to help get the legs straight while you keep your shoulders down. You can stay here or move into plow or shoulder stand if they are part of your practice. Again, these are another posture we won't be covering in the video, as they should be taught in person to make sure you are safely aligned for these. Keep both legs up, hips and shoulders on the mat. Now slowly lower both legs down, but stop a few inches above the mat and hover here. Keep hovering, keep the hands on the mat. Just a little bit longer. Now lift just a little higher and release. On an inhale, we will bend the right knee, keeping the left leg straight. Bring the heel close to the glutes. On an exhale, let the right leg fold over the left side of the mat, using the left hand to anchor the knee down for Parivrrta reclining twist. Rotate the upper body so the upper back is ideally lying flat on the mat and the right arm is extended at a 90-degree angle from the body. Turn the head to gaze out across the right fingertips. Breathe deep breaths and melt into the twist. Remember, the hand on your knee is only anchoring it, not forcing a stretch. Inhale, unwind back to Savasana. Exhale deeply. Inhale, bend the left knee, keeping the right leg straight. Exhale and fold the left leg over to the right side of the mat, using the right hand to anchor the knee. Rotate the upper body so the back is ideally flat, left arm extended away from the body. Gaze out across the left fingertips. Continue to breathe and melt into the twist, letting your knee drop closer to the mat with every breath. The right hand is an anchor, not forcing a stretch. Inhale, unwind back to Savasana. Exhale deeply. Bend both knees up, bringing the heels toward the glutes. Raise the right leg, putting the right ankle on top of the left thigh or just below the knee, rotating the right knee outward as much as the body allows. Send the right arm through the opening between the two legs. Bring the left arm around the outside of the left leg. Keeping the left knee bent, interlace both hands on the left shin, compressing the calf to the thigh. Pull the left leg toward the chest to begin opening the right hip for Janu Padasana, foot to knee, or also called figure 4 pose. Continue to breathe deeply here for 30 seconds. To deepen this posture, you may also pull the forehead up toward the left knee. To exit, reverse the posture back to supine, keeping the knees bent, feet on the mat. Raise the left leg, put the left ankle on top of the right thigh or just below the knee, keeping the left knee outward. Send the left arm through the opening between the legs, right arm on the outside of the right knee, to interlace both hands on the right shin, pulling the calf to the thigh. Now begin to pull the right leg in toward the chest to open the left hip and stay here for another 30 seconds or so. Again, if you feel the need to deepen the posture, you can always lift your forehead toward the knee. Remember, we want to keep enough pressure that we're feeling a good stretch, but we don't want pain in any of these postures. Unwind out of the posture, back to supine with bent knees. From here, we will be moving into Situ Bandha Sarvangasana, or the bridge pose. If wheel pose is part of your practice, feel free to substitute that here. But again, we will not be covering that in this video, as it should be taught in person. For the bridge pose, we will keep the feet flat on the mat, bringing the heels to the glutes as far as possible, keeping the arms beside the body, pressing into the mat, palms down. Inhale, send the hips high, engaging the glutes, keeping the shoulders on the mat, and gluing the chin to the chest. Breathe here and hold for 30 seconds. You may move the hands to support the lower back, or interlace the fingers together under the body and press the arms flat onto the mat. You can also grab the ankles with both hands if you are able to reach. Keep the shoulders rolled back, chest open, shoulders to the mat. Exhale, release the shoulders and head to the mat. Then slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, lower your spine down until you get down to the lower end of the spine and to the hips. Immediately from here, bring the knees into the chest, squeeze in deeply. Again, if you feel the need, you can bring the forehead to the knees and rock back and forth. From here, release the arms, keeping the knees up toward the chest. We are going to sit up into boat position. Use the legs to help bring you forward and the arms to bring you up, moving the body into a V shape. Legs extended out, arms reaching forward, engaging the abdomen for Navasana or boat pose. Make sure here to be leaning far enough forward that you're on the sit bones and not the tailbone. Keep the arms reaching forward towards the feet or up overhead, and try and keep the legs out straight in front of you. Attempt to keep the legs and arms as high as possible. Continue breathing, continue holding, reaching with the arms, reaching with the legs, staying on the sit bones. From here, lower the legs down to the mat and fold forward over the legs, reaching for the toes for Parsvottanasana, seated forward fold. Engaging your Mula and Uddiyana Bandha as you grab for the toes. Feel free to bend the knees here if needed to reach the toes, or to sit up on a block to keep the back straight. Stay here for 30 seconds, breathing deeply. Continue reaching for the toes, folding the chest toward the thighs. If you have the knees bent, continue to press them to try and straighten the legs. Inhale, sit up straight, and release the feet. From here, roll over to lying on the stomach with the head to the front of the mat for Bhujangasana or Cobra pose. Lying prone on the mat, on the stomach, face down, tops of the feet to the mat. Place the hands beneath the shoulders like you were going to do a push-up or a plank, keeping the elbows glued to the rib cage. Legs should stay together in this pose. Tops of the feet stay lightly pressing into the mat. Inhale, lift the chest from the mat, keeping a bend in the elbows and gazing forward. Engage the glutes and breathe deep breaths. Lift the hands here if you can while keeping the chest lifted high, and hold for 30 seconds. The tops of the feet and the thighs are pressing into the mat, but staying on the mat. Aim to lift the chest all the way down to having the belly button still touching the mat. Hold here. Continue your breathing. Gaze should be forward, not craning the neck too far. Release fully back down to the mat. Turn the head to the side and rest for a few seconds here before continuing. Try to resume your natural breathing, inhaling and exhaling fully. We will now bring the arms along the side of the body, palms to the mat, facing to the back of the mat for Purna Salabhasana or locust pose. On an inhale, we will simultaneously lift the chest, the torso, the arms, and the legs. Squeeze the glutes and keep lifting as high as possible, reaching the arms to the back of the mat, feet up and to the back for 30 seconds. Alternatively, if you can't lift both arms and both legs at the same time, lift one arm and the opposite leg and hold for 15, then release and do the other side for 15 seconds. Exhale, release to the mat. Again, turn the head to the side and take a few breaths here. From here, we will bend the knees to bring the heels toward the glutes for Dhanurasana or bow pose. Reach both arms straight back to grab the ankles from the outside. Inhale, lift the chest and the legs, holding for 30 seconds. The arms are pulling on the legs, the feet are pressing back into the hands to create more lift. As you breathe deeply here, continue to create that counter pressure between the hands and the feet to help lift you higher. If this pose is too difficult or painful for you to get into, you can repeat Cobra or Locust or the Locust variation here. Continue breathing deeply. Exhale, release down to the mat. From lying on the stomach, bring the hands up to under the shoulders, push up and back, bringing the glutes to the heels. Knees can be together or slightly apart for Vajrasana, kneeling, commonly also referred to as Seiza. Reach the arms out in front on the mat, forehead down to the mat in front of the knees for Balasana, child's pose. Stay here for a few breaths. The arms can remain reaching out front or can be brought to the sides. Focus on breathing your deep Ujjayi breathing here. Relax and release the spine from all the poses in the Cobra series. From child's pose, inhale up to the hands and knees, hands directly under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Exhale, press into the floor, round the spine up, squeeze the tailbone under, engaging Mula Bandha for Marjariyasana, cat pose. Inhale, lower the spine, arch the back, and open the chest for Bitalasana, cow pose. Exhale, round the spine back to cat pose, tuck the chin to the chest, Uddiyana Bandha, pull the stomach in and up. Inhale the cow, looking up, let the abdomen expand for a full inhale, but don't let the belly sag. Repeating for a few rounds, following your own breath. Staying engaged, working out the spine. Deep breaths, inhale fully, exhale fully. Exhale fully, bringing the knees up toward the hands and sitting back so the glutes are on the heels. Inhale the torso upright, hands to the thighs, shoulders back, chest open. Inhale, come up onto the knees, torso upright, and bring the hands to the low back for Uttanasana, camel pose. Look up and relax the shoulders and the neck back, going into a back bend. Stay here with the hands on the lower back supporting you if needed, or reach back and bring the hands to the heels, or you can place blocks on the outside of the heels and reach for those. Remain here for a few breaths. The chest is open, shoulders are down and back, pelvis is pushing forward, ribs are pulling up and away from the pelvis. Keep bending, looking to the back of the room. On an inhale, come back up, releasing one hand at a time if needed, using your hands on your lower back for support to bring you upright. Sit back on the heels again, tops of the feet to the mat for Sasangasana, rabbit pose. Inhale, tuck the chin to the chest, reach back, grab the heels. Exhale, roll the spine forward until the crown of the head is on the mat with the forehead touching the knees. Continue rounding the spine and pulling on the heels, staying here for a few breaths. If you are able, start to lift the glutes away from the heels up toward the sky to deepen the stretch. Don't put too much weight on your head here. The head should just be touching the mat, not bearing any weight. Continue to keep pressure in the hands, breathing into the stretch. Inhale, release the hands and roll the spine up slowly back to sitting on the heels. Separate the heels out far enough that the glutes can sit on the mat between them. Ideally, the knees are together here, but they can be separated if needed for comfort. Stay upright here if this is as far as you are comfortable, or start to recline back, resting the hands on the mat behind you, coming down to the elbows, or all the way down onto the back if you are able, for Supta Virasana, reclining hero. Stay here, relax, continue to breathe deeply. Make sure your shoulders are back and relaxed, chest is open. Inhale, start to raise yourself back up, coming back to the elbows, then to the hands, bringing yourself back up to sitting on the heels. Bring the hands to the mat in front of you, coming to all fours, and send the hips up high, back to downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here to stretch the back out. We're going to inhale, send the right leg up and back to three-legged dog, toes pointing to the back wall, hips square to the mat. Exhale, bend the right knee, bringing the leg under the body, turning the leg so that the right knee comes to the right wrist and the right foot is as close to the left hand as you are able to, aiming to get the shin parallel to the front of the mat. The left leg goes out long behind us, top of the foot and thigh to the mat. You can stay on the hands here, or lower to the forearms, bringing the forehead to the mat. Stay here for a few breaths, remembering to keep the hips square. If needed, you can place a towel or a block under the hovering hip to help keep them square. Breathe deeply, releasing into the stretch. Remember to keep the legs straight behind you, top of the foot, top of the thigh to the mat. Release into the stretch. On an inhale, come back to the hands. Tuck the left toes. Push down into the toes to bring the left leg off the mat and bring the right leg back out and through to downward dog. Take a few breaths here in downward dog, heels reaching to the mat, pressing through the thumb sides of the hands. Inhale, send the left leg up and back to three-legged dog, toes pointing to the back wall, hips square to the mat. Exhale, bend the left knee and bring the leg under the body, turning the leg so the left knee comes to the left wrist. Left foot is as close to the right hand and as close to parallel to the front of the mat as you are able to do. Right leg reaches out long behind, top of the foot, top of the thigh to the mat. You can always stay on the hands here or begin to lower to the forearms, aiming to bring the forehead to the mat. Stay here and relax into the stretch for a few breaths, keeping the hips square, legs straight behind. Remember, we want to lower as much as we can so we feel a good deep stretch, but not pain. Take a few breaths, let yourself sink into the stretch. On an inhale, come back up to the hands. Tuck the right toes. Push into the toes to lift the right leg off the mat. Bring the left leg back through to downward dog. Take a few breaths here. Exhale, bring the knees to the mat, knees together, feet together, tops of the feet to the mat. Inhale, sitting up tall with the glutes on the heels for Vajrasana, or kneeling pose. From here, come through to seated with your legs out long in front of you. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward, reaching out beyond the feet, bending the knees if needed to get a hold of the feet for Parsvottanasana, seated forward fold. Grabbing your feet, pull your torso down with your arms while pushing to straighten the knees if you bent them, aiming to get the chest to the thighs. Stay here for a few breaths. Engage your bandhas, fold deeper. Again, you can always sit on a block here to help straighten the legs and keep the back straight. Sink into the fold. Full deep breaths. Inhale back up to seated with our legs out long in front of us. You're going to bend the right leg, bringing the bottom of the foot to the inside of the left thigh. Right knee lowers down toward the mat as far as possible. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward, reaching for the left foot for Chandrasana, head to knee pose. Again, bend the knee if needed to keep the back straight and get a hold of the foot, bringing the forehead to the left knee. Stay here for a few breaths, folding deeper, straightening the leg. Again, if needed, you could be seated on a block here as well. Inhale, back up to seated. Take the right leg out in front again. Now bring the left leg up so the bottom of the left foot is to the inner right thigh, left knee sinking toward the mat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward, reaching for the right foot. Bending the knee if needed to keep the back straight, taking the forehead toward the right knee as close as possible. And stay here for a few breaths, folding deeper with every breath, straightening the leg, keeping pressure with the arms, pulling the chest down toward the thigh, forehead to the knee. On an inhale, come back up to seated, legs long out front. Bring the right foot up again as we did for Chandrasana, but instead of putting the bottom of the foot to the inside of the thigh, lift the left leg and bring the right heel under and to the outside of the left hip. Bend your left knee up and take the leg over the right leg so your left foot goes to the outside of the right knee, foot flat on the mat. Take your right hand up and over the left knee, elbow pressing into the knee. Right hand reaches for the right knee if you are able. The left arm reaches behind the back for the right thigh eventually, or take the palm to the mat behind you for Ardha Matsyendrasana, half kingfish spinal twist. Hold here for a few breaths, pushing into the twist to get a good deep stretch. Head and torso are rotating to the left, keeping both glutes and the right knee to the floor if you are able. Exhale, unwind slowly, reversing out the way you went in, back to seated with legs out long. Now bring the left foot in, put it under the right leg so the left heel is to the right hip. Bend your right knee up, take your right foot up and over the left leg to sit on the mat outside the left knee, foot flat on the mat. Left hand comes up and over the right knee, elbow pressing into the knee. Left hand grasps for the left knee if you are able. Right arm reaches behind the back for the left thigh eventually, or palm comes to the mat behind you. Hold here for a few breaths. Head and torso rotating right, glutes and knee on the floor. Exhale, unwind slowly, reversing out the way you went back in. Come back to seated, legs out long in front of you. Bring yourself into a comfortable seated position now for breath of fire. You can always sit on a block here if needed to make sure that your upper body is straight up and down, legs are in a comfortable position. Before we begin, find your natural breathing, letting the stomach expand on an inhale and coming in on an exhale. For breath of fire, we will be exhaling sharply and repeatedly pulling the belly in on every exhale to force the sharp exhale. And then the natural rebound of the stomach going back out will cause the inhale. We'll be quickly pulling the stomach in and out, so this is best done on an empty stomach. The goal is to be doing 100 of these, but we will start with 2 rounds of 25 and then a round of 50. If at any point you need to take a break and resume your normal breathing, that's perfectly fine. You can jump back in or pause the video and get up to 100 on your own. To begin, Inhale, fill the lungs all the way, let the stomach come out. Follow along. Good. Resume your normal breathing now for a few seconds. Let the lungs fill all the way. Expand the stomach. Breathing in, filling the stomach. Breathing out, letting the stomach drop. Alright, get ready for the second round. Big full inhale, letting the stomach expand all the way. And follow along. Good. Relax, catch your breath. Full inhales, full exhale. For the next round of 50, I'm going to let you follow your own pace. Again, pause the video if you need to get the full 50, or do as many as you can and keep following along. Inhale again fully, and begin your exhales. Remember to pull the stomach in sharply as you're exhaling, and let the stomach rebound out again on your inhales. Quick, sharp exhales. Pull those stomach muscles in. Really begin to feel it. Feel the burn. Keep going. Keep pushing. If you're slightly ahead of us, just resume your normal breathing and wait. Continue pushing. Stomach comes in, quick, sharply. Alright, good. Relax. Return to your normal Ujjayi breathing. Deep inhales, deep exhales. Work your way up to completing the full 100 in a row. Lay back now for Savasana. Arms out to the side, palms up, feet slightly apart, rolling out to the sides. Follow your normal Ujjayi breathing pattern here. Inhale, let the stomach rise, fill the lungs all the way. Holding for 2 seconds before exhaling fully. Let the stomach drop down. Again, hold at the end of the exhale. Breathe back in. Continue following your breath, inhaling fully, holding the inhale for a second or two before exhaling fully and holding for another few seconds. Start to relax your entire body. Relax your head. Release any tension you're holding in your face. Relax your eyelids. Let your eyes relax back into your skull. Release any tension between your eyebrows. Release your jaw. Let the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. Release the top of your neck. Down through the spine in your neck. Feel your shoulders melting down into the mat. Release any tension you're holding in your arms. Feel the relaxation spreading down your arms to the elbows, to the forearms. Let the wrists relax. The hands are loose. The fingers are heavy. Coming from your shoulders down into the chest. Feel your entire torso releasing. The abdomen releases. Your stomach is heavy. Continuing to breathe, continuing just to melt into the mat. Your hips are relaxed. Thighs are releasing any tension they're holding. Legs are heavy, melting into the mat. Knees are fully relaxed. Shins are relaxed, laying to the sides. The feet are just falling where they will. No tension in the toes. Continue your breathing. Focus on your breathing. Trying to clear the mind here. If any thoughts arise, that's perfectly fine. Try not to dwell on them. Acknowledge the thought. Let it float away, just like it floated in. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Begin to return to your normal breathing. Become aware of your body. Wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your toes. Roll yourself over into the fetal position on either side. The right side for energy, left side for calming. Rest the head on the hands. Stay here for a minute. Breathe. Coming back into your body, back into the room. When you're ready, bring yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Remember the Drishti you set for today's practice. Maybe set another for the rest of the day. Pay attention to how your body feels. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. With this, we conclude the Bare Essential series. Feel free as you go along to pause the video and linger in poses you feel you could benefit from. Practice sections of it if you need a shorter practice, but be mindful of the sections that balance each other out and try to practice those together. Remember, if we're doing back bends, we always want to come to a forward fold. If we're working the left side, we always want to work the right side. So be mindful of that if you're picking pieces of the practice to focus on. Remember to drink plenty of water and be mindful of how your body feels and what it's telling you, especially if you are just beginning your yoga journey.